I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee of the Whole meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, June 13th, 2024. Prior to tonight's meeting, an informational executive session was held. The purpose of the executive session was to engage in informational updates presented to the board, including consultation with the district solicitor regarding the legal status of the Ortiz Arc Foundation, the Allentown School District Foundation, and the Allentown Public Library. Discussions of confidential matters pertaining to students and personnel issues, and a discussion with Charter School Council regarding the status of a renewal application for executive education. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda or on non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which would be now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. According to our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolutions being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. Comment cards are located on the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Dr. Burst, do you have some introductory remarks for us this evening?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Madison, Chairperson. Before we begin our Finance Committee, I want to just reflect on how what an amazing year we've had in the district. And the past few weeks, most importantly, over the past 3 days, we celebrated 1,137 graduates. And I'm really excited, and I want to thank my team and the board and everyone who's there. It was an amazing experience, and we definitely identified our champions over the past few weeks. And then good evening, everyone. Good evening. Each of the ceremonies were very heartwarming and moving, and it's because of the students we do what we do to see them go on to the next phases in their academic journeys. Last week, our elementary and our middle schools also participated in moving up ceremonies, and I had an opportunity to attend a few of them, and it was a great deal of fun, as well as heartwarming to see how excited our elementary students and middle school students were at their ceremonies. This year, we celebrated about 600 people attended our You Are the Light ceremony, our end of the year celebration, and 91 students, teachers, and support staff. They were identified by their schools as You Are the Light of the Year. And later in the summer, we will announce our final You Are the Light Teacher of the Year, Support Staff Person, and Administrator of the Year. So we are really happy. So please look for the opportunity for you to vote, to cast your votes on our People of the Year. And we are preparing actually for next year. So in that particular, You Are the Light ceremony, we highlighted also our equity fellows, our early college graduates, and our Elevar Emerging Educators Program, in which we are investing in our paraprofessionals to go on to pursue their teaching degrees. This summer, please stay connected to us as a district. We will have summer programming. We have many students who will participate in our internship experience. We actually are gearing up for convocation already. So if you are interested and you're under the sound of my voice and you would like to write a check for our back to school bash or our summer programming, we welcome it. So all our friends out there and partners, you won't feel like being philanthropic, we will gladly take your check, and you can send an email to simonsonr@allentownsd.org or to harrisr@allentownsd.org, and they'd be happy to tell you all the great ways that you can get involved in planning. And if you'd like to help plan, we also welcome your intellectual as well as your talent to help us with these great activities. Our next Board of Education meeting, we will have a special meeting in which we will present our strategic plan. It's not Dr. Burks's plan, it's not the board's plan, but it's our plan. everyone who lives in Allentown, everyone who has children who attend the school districts, all the staff, everyone who are connected to us. We are excited. I want to thank just publicly again, everyone who's been involved. We had thousands of individuals take part in the strategic planning process. I want to thank the steering team, Dr. Broadway McDaniel, and everyone else who are involved in all this planning, my chiefs and everyone. The name of our plan this year, we're excited, is Lighting the Way, a blueprint for innovation and excellence 2030. And so if you want to know more about why 2030 or why lighting the way, please come on the 27th, our meeting. Please mark this down. On the 27th, our meeting will take place at Hayes. It will take place at Hayes Elementary School. So if you come here on the 27th, we won't be here. So at 4:30, there will be a reception and that will include everyone who's involved. We have a brief reception. We will debut the plan. And at 5:30, if you come after 5:30, that part of will be over. It will end. The board will go into executive session. We will come back and have a meeting. So if you are interested and so inclined, please show up at 4:30 at Hayes. We'd love to greet you and welcome you. I'm just going to go through my remarks quickly so I don't have to stop in between each time. So, of course, I'm always honored to serve as your superintendent. And we are going to review policies later on the policy committee. We have some education items come before on the education committee, and Ms. Conover will explain all that to us. And I've shared that we will have a special meeting after this particular meeting, and we will ask the board to consider voting on our personnel agenda as well as a few other matters. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have any comment cards on agenda items? No? We have 4 items on the finance agenda this evening. The first item is a budget presentation. It is that time of year. It is the month of June where we are going to have to, as a board, vote on the budget for next year. Okay, so it is an action item and you will be asked to move it forward after this presentation. Mr. Cuff, can you please join us?
Good evening. We don't necessarily have a presentation, just a quick discussion and update. There's been little movement up in Harrisburg with the budget discussion from our legislators. So right now we're holding peg and we're standing still with what we have as our millage, which is 22.6432. And we will maintain that same millage. If there is any changes that come out from Harrisburg, we will make adjustments to our budget and will be a net effect 0. If we receive more money, we'll have our increase in our expenditure by the equal amount. So there'll be a net effect, but our millage will still stay the same. So right now we are scheduled to approve the budget on June 27th. We will update our webpage tomorrow to state that we are, by PD regulations, we'll update it that we will be voting on June 27th for the updated final budget for 24-25.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Seeing none, may I have a motion to move the budget proposal forward to the June 27th meeting? I heard a so moved. Is there a second?
Lisa
And we have a
Conover.
second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then the motion carries.
Thank you.
We have a transportation item. This is discussion item only. Mr. Kralik-Knapp will present the update.
Good evening. Here is your June 2024 transportation update. The transportation team is meeting with STA on a bi-weekly basis during the transition, and as of right now, the transition is on time. STA has started renovations to the building. They're spending quite a bit of money to renovate all the bathrooms, build a large driver's room for the drivers to be able to relax during the day. It's right by a Wendy's and some other restaurants, so they can go get food and bring it back. They'll be able to hold their safety meetings there all in one place. So the drivers should be pretty happy with how it turns out at the end. STA is fully staffed for the office and the mechanics. All full-time employees started work June 10th. A meeting was held between the transportation team and STA's office to go over expectations and to start working together as a team. I told them we are the transportation team, and us together need to move this forward in a better light than what it has been. And everyone on board was completely happy and excited. Our fleet of vehicles has started to arrive. They will soon be starting the process to get them state inspected. They have to do some things before the state can come in and inspect those. That will probably be around the beginning of August, I would say. Drivers coming over from First Student went through a mass training event this week. It consisted of 8 hours of classroom and 2 hours behind the wheel for an evaluation. At least 70 of the drivers completed that this week, so they will be ready to go for summer programming. There was also a mass hiring event June 11th and 12th at the 4 Points Sheridan, where 84 applications were received. They're hoping to have a mass training class for those applicants starting June 24th. They do a week-long training class, 6 hours a day. And then my advice to them was put them in a van, but the 84 is a little too many. And take them to the DMV and get their permits moving pretty quickly. And they're in agreement with that as well. Buses have started to arrive from around the state to help transport our summer programming. So they started coming in, and we should have all those in by Tuesday of next week, so everything can start on time for summer programming. The transportation team is bringing the routing process in-house. We have the routing software set up for the summer programming. Routing began the week of June 3rd for summer school and is mostly complete at this time. We had an introductory meeting between the charter schools in Atlanta, and follow-up conversations have been happening as questions arise from the charter schools and parents in Atlanta. And we've been putting them in with the appropriate contacts, and that is moving forward quickly. That's it. Any questions?
In that case, I think you are also going to tell us about the first alt proposal.
Yes. We're asking the board to consider renewing of a contract with First Alt for alternative transportation services as needed, effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027. From time to time, the Transportation Department needs to use alternative transportation services to transport individual students to placements out of the district. The Transportation Office uses First Alt to provide these services on an as-needed basis only when existing transportation program is not able to accommodate the needed service and it is cost-effective to use the service. Cost is part of the general fund budget with fees associated with services as needed, and we're asking the board to move this item to the June 27th board meeting.
May I have a motion to move this item forward?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then then it does move forward to June 27th.
Thank you.
The fourth item is to talk about renewing the contract for K-12 Insights Let's Talk communication platform. And Ms. Harris, Dr. Harris?
Good evening, members of the Board of Directors and Superintendent Burks. I stand before you to request approval for the renewal of the contract for K-12 Insights Let's Talk communication platform. K-12 Insight allows the district to provide district-wide customer service in multiple languages by improving community engagement through two-way communication 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any device, including text messages, phone calls, chatbot, and social media. The centralized, secure cloud-based repository serves incoming questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, and compliments by any stakeholder. Communication is simplified through the use of easy collaboration across teams and departments, creating automated workflows, which saves staff time by assigning ownership over all dialogues. Let's Talk enables timely and accurate responses to questions to help ensure satisfaction. The subscription includes continuous ongoing support via a dedicated customer service team and access to engagement specialists to assist with feedback management and implementation. It will affect students during, it has affected students during this most recent academic school year that just ended, the district received 1,111 dialogues from parents, students, and community members. It costs, it costs $60,500, and it will be coming from the Family and Community Engagement budget. I stand before you once again to request your approval for the renewal of the contract for the K-12 Insights Let's Talk communication platform.
Do you have any questions or comments?
I do have a question. Do we have any parent feedback as to how they feel about this program, how it's been navigated, facilitated?
Yes, we do. The platform does capture the feedback from our families. We also have feedback from our staff members as well. And several of our staff members just participated in professional development on this past Monday. And we feel great about the possibilities that are involved in the platform.
So the parents are providing good feedback?
Yes, they have provided us feedback. The platform has provided us feedback in terms of comments that have been given to them through the platform as well.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question.
Anything else? May I have a motion to move this item forward to the June 27th meeting?
So moved. Or second.
I thought there was both a motion and a second in there. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then the motion carries and it will move forward.
Thank you.
Do we have any comment cards on non-agenda items? No? Is there any old business to come before the Finance Committee? Any new business? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody ever opposes a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Policies next, yes. Are you doing policy? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Policy Committee of the Whole meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, June 13, 2024. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda and/or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolutions being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. Comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Dr. Brooks, do you have any remarks to share?
No, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we are only taking public comments on agenda items. Is there any public comments? Thank you. We have 4 policies to present this evening. They're all from the 100 series. If my colleagues do not object, I would like to request we vote on all the policies together after administration completes its presentation. First up will be Dr. Savoy, who will present the first policy, which is policy number 102, academic standards for its first reading.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Policy 102 is titled Academic Standards. There is one edit, and that is using the term academic standards in the definition. The purpose of this policy is to ensure that the board adopts standards that align to Pennsylvania state standard expectations and that our curriculum is tied to Pennsylvania state standards. Any questions?
No. Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome.
Savoy. Oh, you do 3 and 4. Would you like to do?
Somebody else is doing 2.
Dr.
Yeah.
Sanchez?
Dr. Sanchez.
Dr. Sanchez, could you step up to read policy number 112?
Good evening. This evening, I'm presenting policy number 112, Comprehensive School Counseling Program. There are no changes to this policy, and it is being presented and submitted as written.
Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Any questions from the board? Thank you, Dr. Sanchez. Dr. Savard, policy number 138 and policy number 142.
Thank you. Policy number 138 is language instruction, educational program for English learners. There are several revisions to this policy. The first revision is the term language instruction educational program instead of ESOL instruction. That is a change. Another part of the program is that the district has to have an approved curriculum, including an English language development program. In addition to that, planned instruction regarding the English, use the English language development program for planned instruction and modifications in content areas for English learners. Again, this program has to be aligned to state standards, content standards. Teachers have to be certified in English as a second language, and content teachers, of course, have to be certified in their content. We have to administer the assessment for English learners. And English parents cannot opt out of the assessment, but they can opt out of programming for for English learners, which is, make that clear. All English learners who are receiving support all English learners have to take the WIDA Access Test assessment, but parents can opt out of getting English language services. I wanted to repeat that. We have to comply with federal and state law and the guidelines. We identify English students who need English language services through a home language survey. And we have to provide supports and placement within the first 30 days of the school year or within the first 14 days of a student's enrollment. I talked about the next part is the requirements for exiting the English language program services. And the next part, again, is regarding staff qualifications and professional development. This policy also discussed gifted and special education and ensuring that our students receive what they need. On the next page, there's a change. We added parent in front of family engagement and communication. This regards our communications to parents within the first 30 days of the school year. We added in the next paragraph, parents, guardians shall be regularly apprised of their child's progress. And then I talked about the parent ability to opt out of ELD programs and services already. That's the end. Are there any questions regarding this policy? It just basically spells out the requirements based on equity and the requirements of instruction and programming that we provide for English learners.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next policy is policy 142 regarding migrant students. What we included in this policy is the definition of migrant students. That is all.
Any questions from the board? Yes, go ahead.
I was a little surprised that how limited the definition of migrant workers is. It's really only 2 areas of agriculture.
Indeed, and that's why we put it in here, because in the district, we have migrant students, we have refugee students, we have students who receive English language services. All of that also comes with funding, so we have to be cognizant of who we're providing services to from an equity standpoint and from a funding and being fiscally responsible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I have a motion to move these policies forward to our June 27 Board of Directors meeting?
So move. Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And this moves forward. At this time, we are taking public comments on non-agenda items. There are no public comments. Is there any old business to come before the board? Any new business? Motion to adjourn this meeting?
So move.
May I have a second? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Next, education.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Education Committee of the Whole of the Board of Directors for the School District of the City of Allentown for today, June 13, 2024. The board welcomes and invites public comments. You may address the board on agenda and/or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of public comments policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolutions being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operations of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. So if you so choose to address the board, please fill out the comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. And once again, comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Dr. Burks, do you have any comments at this time?
No, thank you, Ms. Conover.
At this time, we're only taking public comments on agenda items. Do we have any? Okay. Okay, tonight we have 3 agenda items. And I'm gonna ask, 2 of them gonna be by Dr. Malika Savoy, so I'm gonna ask that you come to the podium, please. The first 2 is a request to approve, these are action items. Great Exploration Summer Program and Total Solutions Special Education. Dr. Savoy.
Good evening, everyone. Again, rather, the first agenda item is the request for approval of the district's Great Exploration Summer Program for 2024. The program will focus on academic growth in literacy and numeracy, social and emotional development, artistic and athletic expressions, and college and career readiness. We're also focused on grade and credit recovery and 21st century programming. The program will begin on June 24th and end August 1st. Programming will be Monday through Thursday during that time. We're also partnered with several community members. We are providing services regarding transportation, meals, field trips, interns, and social workers, and possibly teachers to community partner programs. I think that's it for me.
Are there any questions?
Do you have a list of who those community partners are?
Yes, in your,
It's in the packet.
In
I don't
your-
have it with me. I'm sorry.
yes, I can't get it. 1 second. Do you want me to read them?
Please,
Okay.
sorry.
Ms. Ramos is going to give you a copy, and
Can you
thank
use it?
you, I can read them.
You can-
We have 1, 2, 3, 4,
So sweet.
27. Just wanted to confirm. And on
Okay.
that chart, it says what we're providing to them upon your approval.
So I believe correct me if I'm wrong, if I may help out with this. We're clear on what the services are
Yes,
that are being provided.
yes.
But I think, Ms. Brown, you wanted the names of the
Partners.
partners. Can you just Are you able to
Name it?
pull those names?
Yes. 21st Century, Allentown Public Library, Allentown School District Special Program, ASAII, Allentown Summer AI Institute. That is the partnership with Drexel University, the Baum School of Art and City Arts, Big Happy Consultant, CADCA POT, and that's the point of contact. Boys and Girls Club of Allentown, Casa Guadalupe Center, City of Allentown Health Bureau, Alliance Hall of Allentown, City of Allentown Parks and Recreation Department, Community Action Development, Community Bike Works, Community Music School, Covertier Foundation, Da Vinci Science Center, 2 programs. Fine Feather Foundation, Greater Valley YMCA, Inspire Her International, Cooler Children's Center, the Mindful Amid Initiative, Moravian University, PA Migrant Education Program, Penn State Lehigh Valley Teacher Professional Development, Penn State Lehigh Valley Teen Entrepreneur Challenge Camp, and Valley Youth House School-Based Counseling and YEP.
Could you tell me what program is being held at the library, the Allentown Public Library, please?
With the library, we're partnering with the library regarding the superintendent's reading challenge. And Dr. Harris and myself have a reading day. We're reading a book to students in July.
Okay.
So our goal is to make sure that every student has their library card, and we're documenting the reading of students' books in our program and encouraging them to go to the library also to read books.
I'm sure. Ms. Conover. May. I
Yes.
just, previously, the library, and I wasn't sure if we finalized, they requested, we distributed meals. Are we distributing meals at the library this year?
Yes?
Yes,
I
okay,
heard
thank you.
Mr.
I
Moore
just
say
want to
yes.
make sure that was raised.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for providing that clarity.
Mhm.
We will be eating at the library.
And at the bottom of the document, we said all partners can visit the Learning Dome at Darrell High School. We are scheduled to provide partners with 2 meals per day at their location per their request, and transportation is available for field trips upon request.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any further questions?
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Dr. Savoy.
The,
May I have a motion to move these? You did both, right?
no,
That was one?
yes.
Okay, I'm going kind of slow. Okay. Oh, okay, so we're gonna do them separately. Okay. So at this time, may I have a motion to move the first item, which was Great Exploration Summer Program, to our regular board meeting? May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Matt,
All in
ask-
favor, let me
Aye.
know by saying aye. Is there any discussion?
I abstain from this vote.
I abstain as well.
Do we have enough votes?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, but I'm abstaining. I have to, so.
Is there anybody online?
Zalia should be on.
No.
Yes, we're here.
Okay, so
Therefore,
there's one,
our next presentation,
three,
not board members.
We have enough, 5, right?
Yeah, Zalia is online.
No, she's not.
She just said something.
No, that wasn't Zelia.
that's
That was
somebody
someone else.
Oh.
But we have 1,
This is why
2,
we didn't do
3.
it.
No, we don't have enough.
Motion does not carry.
Oh.
We have 2 abstentions, so the equivalent of a no.
Now we need
We just have to
clarity on if
bring
we can
it
vote.
back.
We only have, what? Yeah. Just to. Nobody's online, correct? Rita,
I thought we still had. Delia on.
She said she was on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
There-
that's right.
There's
What
money
about
associated with that program, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that requires 5 affirmative votes.
I'll make a recommendation. We're gonna go to the next.
Okay.
We're gonna circle back, take this vote, but then we're gonna take maybe a 2-minute break Can you try to get in touch with Zalia, because
Yes.
there was some technical difficulties, and that's the reason why we don't have that other board member.
Mhm.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Would that make a difference?
Yes, because we need 5.
5 yeses, so we have.
We have
We have
4.
4 so far.
So if, we don't know which way the vote is gonna go for the record, okay, but we gonna look for that other vote. I'm just saying.
Is Phoebe still on?
No, she's not. All right, so we're gonna go to the next
Thank you.
item. Thank
Then
you.
The next request is for approval to complete a special education audit for a period of ending January 2025, not to exceed $72,600 plus any out-of-pocket expenses. The organization is called Total School Solutions. They will conduct a comprehensive special education review for Allentown School District and will include 9 activities, and I believe they will share the scope of work. So I am going to introduce the 2 representatives from Total School Solutions who will present the scope of work for Allentown School District.
Madam Chair. Just want to make sure, just for the record, put into context, as an organization, we are in the spirit of continuous improvement and getting better together. And so we are auditing many of our services, including special education. We had a comprehensive human resources audit as an organization. We've had an equity audit in which we will share with the public later in the summer. We also looked extensively at our financial resources and have had PFM and others come in. So this is just a standard of doing business so that we get better in support of our students and families. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Burks.
Are you
Ms.
ready?
Harris says she's on.
Can you hear us? Total
Yes,
School
I can
Sol-
hear you. Can we go over what we're voting on?
Where?
Mrs. Harris? Is that Ms.
Uh,
Harris?
Yes, Miss Harris. Yeah, it's Phoebe. Yes.
Okay, so we went to the next item, so let them do the presentation, and then if you could stay on, then we would appreciate you being able to be available to vote. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They would like to share their screen too. You know. We're ready for Total School Solutions.
Okay, I'm sharing the scope of work now. And thank you for having us. My name is Aisha Ahad. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at Total School Solutions. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Carol Miller, who is our Senior Consultant of Special Education here. Carol, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Aisha. Good evening, Board of Directors, as well as Superintendent Dr. Burks, staff members, and community members. We are honored to have the opportunity to share with you the scope of work for a special education study audit. We met earlier with Dr. Burks and Dr. Savoy, and we truly appreciate their guidance. We've prepared a scope that meets the unique and specific needs of Allentown School District. And as you can see on Exhibit A, we do have 9 different study activities. We are going to look at a history of your special education data to include identification rates as well as English language and academic performance rates. And we're also going to look at least restrictive environment information, and we will compare to statewide data as well as comparative district data to your school district. Also, we are going to look at your organizational structure, including the hierarchy of personnel, and we're looking at all staffing for special education. And then activity 3, we will be reviewing the revenue and expenditures for 2 fiscal years to see if you're spending more income that you have and what your in-kind contribution may be, and how you can align expenditures to meet the needs of all students and still stay within the requirements of state and federal law. We're also activity number 3. We will be reviewing, activity number 4. We will be looking at compliance, and we've conducted many special education audits looking at individualized education programs. We would like to look at 10% of your psychoeducational as well as your IEPs, the individualized education programs, and we've designed a template to see If those areas are in compliance, we would be making recommendations on how to better prepare IEPs and meet compliance areas. We also would like to conduct individual and group interviews, and the stakeholders would be chosen by district administration. And we would be in the school district for 4 full days interviewing staff. The next activity is 7. We would look at the curriculum, delivery of services, the structure that aligns to best practices for students with disabilities. Are they being served in the least restrictive environment? And what kind of professional development activities would enhance serving the students more effectively? And the 8th activity would be drafting a report based on all the data we collected and all the information from the staff as well as stakeholder interviews. And then administrative staff would have the opportunity to look at it, make some recommendations, work with us, and making any kind of edits needed. And then we would present to the board of directors, to you, a final report that would include recommendations, basically a design on how to implement our recommendations, as well as we wanted to include positives as well as challenges. We like to show accolades of those things that are great, and also those challenges to move them from good to great. Regarding the process, we are looking at a timeline. The first we start off is collecting data. So we have a data collection instrument we would design specifically for your district, as well as collecting data from the state and other information. Most importantly, looking at the fiscal expenses, as well as scheduling interviews. And we were talking about the interviews would be scheduled probably in the fall or when your staff would be coming back. We would be interviewing cross-representation of general education, special education teachers, administrators, and many, many more support groups, for example, psychologists, speech and language pathologists. And then we will compile all of the comments that show up trends and themes, and we would look at that information and use that as part of our recommendations. We would like to start as soon as possible. We're ready to go. We would be working diligently this summer, gathering data, making analysis, and we would hope to complete it at the end of October or the beginning of November. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is your starting point of what year? Like how far are you looking back for the success?
For the financial, we're looking at 2 full fiscal years for the fiscal. And for the starting year, it just depends on what we're looking at. We want to do a historical picture of the identification rates of special education. And sometimes we go back 5 or 6 years. We would like to go before COVID time to see if there's a comparison of students that if your enrollment has decreased or has increased. We'd like to make a comparison of general education as compared to special education enrollment and see if there's a difference or if they are complementing. There's similar increases and decreases. So it just depends on which area we're looking at. We would like to do a comparative analysis as well for staffing for comparable districts or comparable size districts or like districts for the staffing patterns. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Thank you.
This is a comment to you all. Honestly, I would like to see the look back from, like, the starting point to be prior to COVID. At
Yes.
least for all areas, a minimum of 5 years.
A minimum of 5 years?
Yes, look back, yeah. Then my next question would be, as it relates to like policies and procedures, are you looking to see that those policies and procedures are being structured in an equitable way for students of special education services?
That's one of the prime focuses in my area. I serve as technical assistance for disproportionality for the entire state of California. And we look at equitable distribution all the time. And so, of course, yes, we would be looking at the policies and procedures in relationship to equity.
Thank you.
I have a question to clarify something that Ms. Brown just made. In terms of the proposal that you're making, how many years were you looking back to address, and would going to 5 years have an impact on cost?
I just missed the last phrase that you said, how many years we look back. Could you just repeat the last part of your question?
The last part of my question was, if your proposal was based upon a number of other than 5 years to go, looking back as requested by one of our board members, the question is, would that have any impact on cost on the scope of your services?
I would say probably not. We would go back and if we have the data, it depends on how the data is presented to us, because the district already has all of the fiscal documents, and it's just a matter of pulling those documents and making a comparison.
I love that response.
Right, Madam Chair. I just want to say for clarity, we are looking at the program for 5 to 6 years. That was a given. So now we're asking for expansion of the financial aspect from 5. So I just want to make for clarity. So when they are capturing their notes. Okay. I just want to make sure for clarity. Actually, we're already doing the academic parts of it. And that didn't seem like what came out. So I just wanted for the record.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any more questions?
So for my clarification, we're only going to go back 5 years. That's correct? 5 or
Correct.
6 years?
Correct.
Okay. And what happens, because I got on the board in 2017, we had problems then. What if we want to go further back? Then what?
If we see something that is basically an anomaly, then we will come back to you and say, hey, maybe we should go back further. And then we would address additional cost at that point. But we've done maybe 60 of these similar type studies. And I've been on the lead for the majority of those. And 5 years gives us a great perspective. Actually, most of our studies are only 3 years for the financial. We do go back for the special education identification rate, sometimes as back as 8 years, but that depends on if the state has that data available or if you have that data available for us.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. It was a great question.
Dr. Burks.
Thank you. Dr. Carroll, how are you? It's Dr.
No,
Burks.
fine. How are you doing?
Oh, great, thank you. I just want to ensure I know that we've asked you to go beyond, in your conversation with Dr. Svoy and myself, beyond what you normally do, and that's where we are. But I'm just wondering if you know, and I know you don't do the financials, so my other friend does, and so who's not on the call right now. I'm wondering if we should add an additional, so we're not going back and forth the board, and you probably don't know the answer to this. On average, do you think if we go beyond, is that an additional $25,000? We'd rather get to a not to exceed, so it goes to our solicitor, than a lot of back and forth and stop the project. So I'm just, on average, should we get to a not to exceed, the scope of work, $100,000, and then we get what we get for that amount of money, if that's okay with you, Madam Chair?
Is she gonna take a shot at answering that question?
Well, I would like to, we do have Miss Aisha Ahad with us, who is the vice president of the company. And Aisha, are you still with us?
Yes, sorry, I'm here. Yeah, we can definitely add a not to exceed. That's no problem at all. I'm sorry.
But we're talking about, if we go back 5 years, we're talking about, I don't know, 2 or 3 days for additional work. So Aisha, what would we add to that?
So where are we at now with the number?
Right now, I believe it's 72,000.
So, to speak to what Mrs. Harris just spoke about, the board members, including our superintendent, she's been here, I think, 2 years, and these are newer board members. so-
One.
Almost two? 1 year? I think Audrey, you're the longest on the board.
On the board, yes.
So, pretty much, if we only go back 5 years, anything that you find that's not pretty, it's gonna fall on us, but we inherited a mess prior to that. So we would like you to look beyond that, at least 7 years. I mean, I'm never gonna be quiet, my mouth runs, but spare me, like, give us some more time. Tell us what it's gonna look like if you went back at least 7 or 8 years before we got here.
Okay, well, we can definitely do that, right, Carol?
Yes, we can, but it will be, Aisha. Dr. Burks was talking about what the additional cost would be at that point.
Mm.
And
Um,
possibly not to exceed.
Well, we will have to consult with Tahir, but I believe the best way to go about it is to do it on an hourly basis, if we need to. Our fee doing that is $250 an hour. So we can just add that on top and then do not exceed clause. So we don't go crazy over a certain amount.
So, Dr. Burks, I'm gonna let you speak in 1 second, but $250 an hour might get us nothing if you got $100,000 there, because we don't know how long it's gonna take you to do what you have to do.
Right.
So maybe we should just put this on hold until you can come up with a number, and then we can have a real conversation. But to say 250 an hour and then not to exceed, my concern would be that we don't get what we're initially starting out to get. So if you could come back, and I'm gonna let you speak, Dr. Burks, you may or may not agree. My board members might not agree with me, but that's my thoughts.
I'm from the administrative perspective. We'd rather have the number than go back and forth. And I'm sure the solicitor would
Exactly.
agree. And so if we could get to a more realistic number, we'd like to get to the not to exceed it and let the board decide whether that number is appropriate.
Sure,
So,
yeah,
Karen.
we can consult with Tahir and then send another copy of the proposal with those updates.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? So this is,
Wait, yeah, so for clarification purposes, when I asked for 5 years, she said there was no additional cost. So is the ask beyond 5 years? Because you mentioned
the
7
ask
years.
is beyond 5
So
years.
beyond, so you want to know what the cost would be beyond 5 years? And what year is that? So we can have an understanding of, is it the 7 years?
That was-
Beyond, you could do
yes.
8, be 8,
Or
8,
10,
I wasn't
just
here.
to make it
10 is fine,
Okay.
I like it too.
whatever? 8, 10, what?
But May,
Yes,
that-
please.
I just want to say, if we get to that place, I just want to say to the board, it's going to take much longer than November for them to do the data collection. Because they're going to have to go back, look at a lot more documents, as well as try to engage as many people as possible in this process. So I just want to make sure we're clear that October report is not coming. Based on people who do research, it takes a lot of time to get back, to do that amount of time.
So when do you think
have a
that we would get it?
question.
So do you think that it'll take you guys that long? You couldn't do it in a good time? You said, what, November, you said? Couldn't do it before then?
Our original goal, based on the 5 years, was to have a report no later than late October, early November. Now we're adding almost double the time. Like I said, I'm not doing the work, but someone who's done this work before, it takes a lot of time, but I'll let them
I
answer.
understand that, but could you explain, how long would it take you for that look back time?
It would probably take us till the end of November.
Okay.
I have a question. Like, I know certain records are destroyed after a few, I think after 5 years, maybe
No.
7 years.
Mm-mm.
Financial records, so all that stuff is available to be audited.
Okay, but student records need to be kept for 100 years.
Right.
Thank you.
No, I'm not talking about student records. I'm talking about other records, like the financial,
Financial records are usually 7 years.
7 years. Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Okay.
And typically with the audits for IEPs, individualized education programs, we look at the prior year, or the cycle educational evaluation that's every 3 years. So we will look at that full cycle educational evaluation and then follow it for 1 to 2 years. We typically will not go back 5 years on that because it would be very difficult. Students come and go. So it would not be applicable for the 10% audit of the special education records. We will get enough information for looking at the last few years based on the timeline cycle for federal and state statute.
And Dr. Carroll, when you're preparing, and thank you for that, preparing to add to the proposal, can you give us a realistic account of how many people in focus groups that you're looking at? How much data collection you're going to need, just so the board again understands the full scope of what is going to be collected, so that there will be clarity of expectations upfront. That would be very helpful.
Dr. Burks, may I add for detail? For in the proposal, Dr. Miller, can we add the number of years for each component of the audit? Because I'm hearing different years for different parts so that everyone is clear on how far we're going back and for what part.
Okay.
Component. Thank you.
I forgot your question. I think she's ready. She forgot her okay, should I continue?
I think she. You?
Can I say something?
You go ahead, Dr.
No, I think she,
I
Dr.
thought she was
Carroll,
looking
did
for
you get it?
information.
I think she has it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was taking notes. I'm sorry.
Dr. Miller, she asked you a question. You didn't hear the question?
Oh, no,
Dr.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
You responded, you said yes, right?
not.
Yes, yeah, for each year, I was going to add the number of years for each component.
Yes, we'll add that.
Yes.
No,
Dr. so that Brooks was a had a yes.
request prior to
I didn't hear the yes. She got it. So you, Dr. Burke, you,
I just want to make sure, Dr. Carroll, if that you clear what my requests were, just so I know you had a lot of requests happening.
Could Dr. Burks, could you repeat your request, please? So I have exact clarity.
So, well, I had a few, but I think the last one is about the one about the scope of work and clarity of expectations of the timeline. And how many people and who's going to be different researchers have different numbers of focus groups and how many people surveyed and what the 10% should be. And I want that clarity of understanding and of the stakeholder groups to add on to, so we've asked you to do additional things. So I want to make sure we're clear about that.
Okay, I've got that down.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
so did I hear in this meeting that we're all having that it was a fiscal part?
Yes. And we were going to extend the fiscal part. There
So
was a
that's what I'm
2-year
concerned with, the fiscal part.
Yes, and then the academic part of this.
That's what Dr. Savoy was talking about. Please let it be made clear so that we're all on the same page, that there's different components to that.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, how long would it take you to go 7 years for the fiscal part? And then you can just do what you were gonna do for the 5 years for the other part. The other part, I don't know. This is not my department, but I'm just saying.
They were just doing it collectively, everything at the same time.
If I would recommend,
think they
I
have to- I
think
think
they
there
should
has to
probably
be a
kind of consult before they give the response to that. Because I want to make sure that we meet the expectations. I want them to say, oh, you know.
Well, I didn't really expect an
Yes,
answer.
yes.
I'm just trying to paint what was in my head. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Not for me.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. My biggest concern is knowing what works, what doesn't work, and how can we do it better. That's my major concern. I understand we have to be conscious of how much we're spending, but those are my main 3 focuses, because we need to make sure that we are providing the proper services, not only for all students, but especially for our vulnerable students. And we need to make sure that our policies, procedures, and our practices are equitable for all our students.
So is this something we're gonna pull tonight?
Yes,
Okay.
I'd like for us to come back if that's okay, next, 2 weeks. Does that, Dr. Carroll and the team give enough time for you to?
So can
Yeah,
someone make a
another proposal.
motion to table it?
I make the motion.
Second? Any further discussion? All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
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 Any that oppose? This gets tabled until our next
Makes sense.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So Dr. Savoy, we're gonna go back to Great Exploration Summer.
We'll leave the meeting now if it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're not trapped like we are.
So we're gonna, wanna run this again from the beginning?
Okay. We are requesting the board's approval of our Great Exploration Summer Program. The program consists of partnering with community partners, providing services, incorporating summer program within the district in our school buildings. For students entering kindergarten through 12, we will focus on academics, we will focus on arts, athletics, social emotional learning and development, credit recovery, and post-secondary readiness. We have 29 partners as part of our summer program. The services that we're providing are field trips to the Dome at Deroff High School, transportation for field trips, meals upon request, social workers, I think I said interns. Did I say interns? Student interns, and possibly teachers in 2 programs. And actually, the program that asks for teachers is our migrant program.
And then of that, let me just enter, because we had 2 board members. How many board members joined us since then? 2. 2? Ms. Allier and Ms. Harris? Are you there?
Yes, yes.
Ms. Allier
Yes,
there?
I'm here.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Dr. Savoy to read the list once again, please, of our
Provide.
partners.
The providers are 21st Century in our elementary newcomer and our elementary and newcomer programs, Allentown Public Library, Allentown School District Special Programming, ASA Allentown Summer AI Institute, which is the partnership with DeSales University, the Baum School of Art and City Arts, Big Happy Consultant, Boys and Girls Club of Allentown, Casa Guadalupe Center, City of Allentown Health Bureau, Alliance Hall of Allentown, City of Allentown Parks and Recreation Department, Community Action Development, Community Bike Works, Community Music School, Coveteer Foundation, Da Vinci Center, 2 programs, Fine Feather Foundation, Greater Valley YMCA, Inspire Her International, Cooler Children's Center, the Mindful Amid Initiative, Moravian University, PA Migrant Education Program, Penn State Lehigh Valley Teacher Professional Development, Penn State Lehigh Valley Teen Entrepreneur Challenge Camp, and Valley Youth House School-Based Counseling. All partners will can visit the Learning Dome at Deroff High School. Partners are also scheduled to provide We're scheduled to provide partners with 2 meals a day at their locations per their request, and transportation is available for field trips upon request.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions? May I have a motion to move this item to our next regular scheduled board meeting?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second. Is there any discussion?
I abstain from this one.
And I abstain as well.
I abstain also. Okay, now let's count that again. We have 3 abstentions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. So let's just really be clear, because I'm sure everybody's looking at us like we have 4 heads because there's abstentions. And so this is part of my discussion. This is our regular board meeting, and this is gonna go, this is our committee of the whole, and it's gonna go to our regular board meeting. So my ask is gonna be, we need, say it again?
I was gonna say, can we do it by roll call here?
Do what?
Do it by roll call so the
Excuse me.
abstentions are registered.
Oh,
That's a question, I don't know.
Mr. Solicitor.
well, this is the discussion part right now.
I understand.
Yeah, so
You were about to ask for the vote, and if we do it as a voice vote.
I don't want the vote yet. I want to discuss it before the,
Okay.
is that okay?
That's still not the question I'm asking.
Okay, I want to hear you. What are you
Okay.
saying to me?
I can't hear you.
This is a side, it's a parliamentary question. Are we allowed to do a roll call vote in quotation marks? So because of the people who are having to abstain tonight, so that we have an accurate count. That's the only thing I'm asking.
Okay. So you want to do that?
He's saying yes, you can do
Yes.
that.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote, but right now we can have the discussion?
Mhm.
Okay. So part of I know that we have people who work for the city, and we have people who, you own one of the partners, and you work for one of the partners, I'm assuming. I don't know that for true. And how I'm gonna vote is going to weigh on your response, Mr. Solicitor, for clarity purposes. I am not clear, we're not clear in terms of how one could have a nonprofit organization be on this board and receive funds from the school district. So we need clarity. I haven't seen anything in writing it right now. This does not throw anybody under the bus, but I'm not going to jail and I'm not going to hell. And I said it before and I'm gonna say it again. So I'm gonna take this vote, but I wanna make sure that it's clear. I don't wanna stop anybody from participating in any of the summer activities. But I wanna make sure that everything that we're doing is above board. So do you understand my question?
I do understand your question, but since you're requesting legal advice, it would be most appropriate to address this in executive session versus public session to address that issue. And,
But it's already out there, right? And it's not accurate.
pardon me?
It's already public now, right? And it's not accurate.
Okay, well,
So what position does that put me in?
well, I don't
I'm
know.
gonna- I- I'm gonna-
I don't know
I'm
that
gonna
there
be in
was
my role as
personally
president.
identifiable information that was addressed. I understand your position. Can we have an opportunity to maybe go into this room to have a brief executive session to discuss this issue? Because I have a question on something that I thought was addressed by separate counsel on this issue.
Madam President, can we?
Sure. I want to make a comment
Okay, we're
first.
gonna have an executive session to consult with,
I
counsel.
also want to make it for the record
I want to make a
that
comment.
this is something that came up. This is not my first time asking this question.
I understand, but it's my
I don't
understanding
know
that
how many
I
times
I
you
will
have to
go in executive
respond to it,
session
though.
and
I
explain
don't
it.
know how many times.
First, since it was said publicly, full transparency, my abstaining has nothing to do with my role as a city employee because that's not my department and it does not impact me whatsoever. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you.
Okay,
Are we going back there?
can we?
I have a quick question. How does the brief executive session look for us on Zoom? Like, how would we go about that?
That's a wonderful question. Maybe we can get you on, cell phone connection.
We've done it
Okay, that
before in
works.
a cell phone.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, that was a good question.
So we're gonna take a break
Yes,
and
we're
come
gonna
back?
have to disconnect this connection so that won't be heard publicly. Can that be done? Okay, just, or mute it.
So we need about what, 10 minutes?
Michelle
minute, you can
and
stay.
Anna.
We're just waiting for Denzel.
And Anna.
And Mr.
I
Bruce.
see Anna. I just want to thank everybody for waiting for us to reconvene, and we're waiting for two board members, and we'll get started. Everyone's on.
No, Miss Sierra's on
Yeah, Ms. Sierra's there as well.
Okay, we're ready to proceed?
You can proceed.
Lori?
Yes.
At the request of the committee chair, Ms. Conover, we just completed an executive session at which time we discussed some of the issues which were raised, at least publicly, and the board secured legal advice. It is my recommendation, and it was the consensus of the parties in executive session, that we will vote to move this forward, because tonight the board is not legally committing to the entry into these contracts. The only issue that is before the board is whether this gets moved for ultimate action at our next regularly scheduled public meeting on June 27th, 2024. So the consensus is to move forward, and we will try to address some of the issues that were concerned between now and then to the satisfaction of the board of directors. So is there a motion already on this issue and a second?
There was a motion.
Yes.
And we had two abstentions.
Or was this tabled?
We had three abstentions. Say it again?
Was this tabled?
No, it
or
was not tabled. It was not tabled. We were having discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, is that correct?
Right, and then we
Correct.
want to,
Okay, we need a motion and a second now, from.
So moved?
I'll
Is there a
second.
Okay, and the issue is, are we going to be, the issue is this going to be moved forward? I would suggest that we have a roll call vote.
Ms. Brown,
Abstain.
Ms. Conover,
yes.
Ms. Harris,
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Ms. Noel,
I abstain.
Ms. Ramirez, Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
Ms. Tiburcio,
Abstain.
abstain. We have 5,
This,
5 and 3.
so this moves forward to our next regular board meeting. It passes.
The motion passes. 5-3.
Okay. Do we have any,
Mr. Simonton,
oh, we have the
Thank you.
counselor.
I think Dr. Burks wants you to say it again.
Can you say that again for the record?
Motion passes 5-3. Motion passes
abstentions.
5.
Three abstentions.
Five ayes
Five,
and.
they're abstentions, they're not
Three
noes.
abstentions.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're not three against, yes.
At this time, we're taking public, oh, no, we're not. We have one more, see, we got, oh, come forward, please, Dr. Lourdes Sanchez. This is another, action item, is for the counselor renewal.
Correct. Good evening again. Tonight I stand before you for the renewal of the Counselor mobile app, a digital mental health platform for Allentown School District students in grades 9 through 12. The app will be extended through the 24-25 school year until July 31st, 2025. The Counselor mobile app is a digital mental health platform centered on unlimited live text support from licensed mental health professionals. The application will maximize the accessibility of quality mental health for students in grades 9 through 12 in the Allentown School District. It is accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The unlimited text-based mental health support offers live 45-minute texting sessions that are available on demand or by appointment. It is available in English and Spanish and can provide automated reminders for scheduled appointments. Counselor provides monthly utilization reports, including the number of student users, sessions, new signups, date, time, length of sessions, and session topics discussed. The Counselor mobile application will continue to be available in all Allentown School District high school students, for all high school students. Obtaining parental consent from parents or guardians is a seamless process through the app. The application also helps support all students who may need help, especially those who don't seek it and who face hurdles related to inconvenience, cost, and stigma. Unlimited services will be available at any time. Additionally, Counselor provides a comprehensive database of vetted self-help resources for a variety of issues, including abuse, anxiety and stress, depression and sadness, eating and body image, relationships, food and housing insecurity, self-harm and suicide, substance abuse, and grief. This app fulfills the need for immediate and ongoing support as communicated by our Allentown School District students. The cost is $142,209, and the funding source is through the PCCD Mental Health Grant and operating in Title I.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? May I have a motion to move this item forward to our regular board
So
meeting?
moved.
I second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any that are
Aye.
opposed? You oppose?
She
So
said
was I.
No, she just said aye. She's
Okay.
delayed.
She was delayed.
Okay, this item moves forward to our next regular board meeting. At this time, we're taking public comments on non-agenda items. We don't have any. Is there any old business? Is there any new business?
Yeah, I want to say something. I want to be very clear when I say what I'm saying. I did not join this board to be friends with anybody, right? I had no intentions on being an elected official. The reason I became elected official is because I know what I experienced in this community as a parent. I know what my children experience. And as being someone who is active in the community, I understand what the community experienced. I understood what the teachers were experiencing, and I felt compelled to run as a board member because there were 6 seats that were going to be open. And through those 6 seats, I kept telling myself I did not want to be one of the 6. But then I kept hearing God tell me, well, if not you, then who? You understand the issues. Would you allow the wrong person to get in the seat? Or are you going to stand up and do what's right? So that's when I took the initiative to run, right? Then as I was running, stepping out of my comfort zone to be that voice, right? To be the ears, to listen to what's happening and being able to stand up and advocate and have those crucial conversations, because not everybody can do that, right? So I am a woman of character and an integrity. Any room that I walk in, I walk with my head high, my back straight, and I fear no one. I disrespect no one. Sometimes I speak stern because that's the passion and the fire that I feel in my heart. And my understanding of the urgency to change the systems that is plaguing the valley. As a Black woman, knowing that there is so much discrimination in the valley and our students face those discrimination. The last thing I ever want to do is have a quarrel with my sister, right? I've stood here for the 3 years I've been on this board, and I've repeatedly said, in order for me to make an informed decision, I have to have all the information. So when I make a decision, it's not a personal decision. But if you want me to make the right decision, you better bring the facts. Because if I don't have the facts, then I'm going to vote with my conscience. So again, it's not personal, but it's personal because that's who I am. And if it's not liked, I don't care. If you don't respect it, I don't care. But one thing I will not tolerate is disrespect. When you speak to me respectfully. You get to have your opinion, but you do not get to talk to me any kind of way you want to, especially when I'm trying to resolve an issue and I'm trying to communicate and I'm trying to express why I'm making a decision on my behalf. All the hours that I dedicate to being a board member, I take those hours away from my children and my grandchildren because I want to help other people. Those hours I'm never going to get back, ever. Sometimes we leave here 12 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. Those are hours that I don't get back. When I leave here, I got to be to work 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not saying that we all don't dedicate time, but what I'm saying is my vote is my vote. My decision is my decision. If you want me to make an informed decision, give me the information. Stop taking things personal. You know, I receive backlash many times when I'm expressing my concerns and my heart. You know, if it's been said that I've attacked people when that's never the intention. You know, I do not make decisions based off of relationships. So we can be the best of friends. But if I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. I won't disrespect you, but I don't agree with you. And it's not because I want things to be my way, but sometimes I see things different because I have different experiences. I've been exposed to different things. I'm not an Alletonian. However, I lived here over 20 years and I've been engaged. I've had my children engaged. So I understand what it's like to be out there in the community. I respect all of you. When we make decisions, we need to be able to make them respectfully. Nobody should be cursing at anyone. I will not tolerate that. I would not tolerate that. When you speak to me with respect. When you speak to your other fellow colleague, talk to them with respect. We are grown adults. It is not acceptable. You cannot do that. I was 21 years old when I lost my mother. I would not accept anyone to violate me, to disrespect me, and I don't want to see that happening to anybody else. So the reality is, we are not always going to agree with each other. We may not understand the rationale behind what we say or what we do, but we should always seek first to understand, then to be understood, but never to disrespect, because you can't take what you dish out. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Brown. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
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 This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Let's wrap this up.
Special meeting?
Special meeting. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, June 13, 2024. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda and/or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public comment once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolutions being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. Comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We will now have the roll. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Brown,
Present.
Ms. Conover,
Present.
Ms. Harris. Ms. Harris, are they back online, Jose?
It doesn't show that she's on Zoom anymore.
Ms. Matheson,
Here.
Ms. Noel,
Here.
Ms. Ortiz, Ms. Ramirez,
Present.
Ms. Sierra,
Present.
Ms. Tiburcio.
Present.
We got 7 members present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And now for the board president remarks. I would just like to congratulate all the graduates that graduated this week. It was such an amazing moment to see all the families and children that worked so hard for the past 13 years, and now finally they've graduated. So congratulations to all the families that, all the students that graduated this year. Also, I would like to wish everyone a safe summer. I know school is out. Stay cool. Make sure you're eating we have all these centers that are giving out free meals. Make sure that you're tapping into the community as well. And there are great summer programs that are happening throughout Allentown School District that your children can be a part of. That's my remarks. Superintendent remarks?
Thank you, Madam President. I said all my remarks in the the Committee of the Whole meeting, so thank you so much
No
for
problem.
the opportunity.
At this time, we are only taking public comments on agenda items. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Nothing? Okay. First, I'm gonna ask, the Board of Directors, we need to table item B from the Board of Directors report. It's a resolution from the city. There's an action that's missing, so we need to wait for that to be able to do that.
Move to table.
Move the table. Can I have a second?
So move.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Matheson,
Yes.
Ms. Noel,
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez. Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
Tiburcio,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. On this evening Board of Directors report, we are sadly recognizing the passing of one of our dedicated employees, Allentown School District Administration Center custodian, Mr. Isa Alhamwi. I will now read the obituary minutes, which will be followed by a moment of silence. It is with sincere regret and deep sorrow that we record the death of Isa Alhamwi on June 1st, 2024. In recognition thereof, the Board of Directors submit the following obituary minute and resolution. Whereas Isa Alhamwi was a faithful and devoted employee of the Allentown School District for almost 10 years, and whereas in his position as custodian for the Allentown School District, he carried out his duties in a caring and professional manner. And whereas he treated colleagues, other staff, and students with a cheerful attitude and willingness to help. And whereas he provided the employees at the administration center and throughout the school district with a pleasant and encouraging environment. And whereas his passing is marked by a deep sense of loss across the district, be it resolved that the Board of Directors take note of the untimely death of this faithful employee by causing this obituary minute and resolution to be spread upon the permanent minutes of the board this 13th day of June 2024, with a copy to be sent to his bereaved family. Respectfully submitted by the Board of Directors of the City of Allentown. Now we have a moment of silence. Thank you. May I have a motion for approval for the Board of Directors report?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Madison. Thank you, Ms. Madison. Please call the roll. Any discussion? I'm sorry. Please call the roll.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Ms. Noel,
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez, Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
Ms. Tiburcio,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Conover.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. May I have a motion of approval for the superintendent's report?
So move.
Thank you, Ms. Conover. Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Ramirez, Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
Ms. Tiburcio,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Ms. Noel.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
May I have a motion for approval for the personnel report?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Ramirez, Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
Ms. Tiburcio,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson,
Yes.
Ms. Noel.
Yes.
Motion passing 7-0.
Thank you. At this time, we are only taking public comments on non-agenda items. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Mr. Secretary? No. Is there any old business to come before the board? Any new business? May I have a motion? I'm sorry. Yeah, sure.
I just would like to say two quick things. One, as a district, our hearts and prayers go out to the family of Mr. Isa and everyone. He really warmed our hearts when he worked here in the central office. Mr. Isa would vacuum you up. He was so proud of his job. And as we did send a note to his family, and some of us were able to attend his services. So he will be sorely missed by all of us. So I want to say that publicly for his family and everyone. We will truly miss Isa. And also, as it relates to personnel, we are excited that the board, I want to thank the board for voting to add additional members of our team. We're excited if Mr. Singh could just, for a matter of record, just say, because we do have Mr. Hughes here, and we'd like to give him a warm greeting. He's moving, he's one of our own, and he's moving to another seat in the district, and we are extremely proud of him. We've been making some investments in him this year, and he's really taken on the challenges that we've given him with such dignity, pride, dedication, and a true servant leader. And I'm extremely proud to add him to, moved him on up on the organizational chart. So thank you. And let's give him a warm welcome, team, please. I know we've been here all night, but I would like to give him the same respect that we've given others on our team, so we could just greet him, please, in a proper way. We have others who may be on Zoom, but when you come in person, yes, please, board members, if you could please join me. Yes, please.
I think we did it reverse. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. It's like a communion traffic here.
I don't know. You had no idea what was.
Last one, but you're going back for a group picture.
Motion to adjourn. Second. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.